Welcome to the Women Leaders Association Daily Member Podcast, where we believe we go further, faster, and have more fun when we go together. I'm your host, Julianne Kirkland. And in each Daily Member Podcast, we will pick out a great speaker from one of our meetings that we thought you would enjoy. You can access hundreds of recent speakers, book summaries, great articles, and more at no additional charge through your membership portal. If you would like to get involved in a Women Leaders Association mastermind group or find a networking group near you, or if you just need access to the membership portal, simply go to womenleaderspodcast.com to be connected. Now let's tune in for this incredible message.
All right, what I wish you knew. So my presentation is based mostly on my experience. And it may ring true for you or maybe not, but this is definitely my authentic self and bring in my experience, and hopefully you learn something from it. About me, personal life, I was born and raised in the Philippines. I've been in the US for 15 plus years, and I am happily married and have 2 fantastic boys and 2 fur babies. I also have a side gig, actually. I make candles and I donate to animal rescues. So it's another thing. So professional life, I've been doing IT plus years in IT audit. And I have worked for all of these fantastic companies. My first job was at Ernst & Young back in the Philippines. And moving to the US, I've had a great opportunity to work with different industries, and they're super different. The way each of those companies were ran, they're super. Okay, before we start, I would like you to grab something to write on, and I promise you, I'm not gonna quiz you later. This is not a quiz, but this is super duper important. I wanna ask you why you're here. Why are you doing what you're doing right now, or why are you doing the things you'll be doing later today, tomorrow, and the next few months? There is no wrong answer, because again, this is about you.
Let me repeat that really quick so that our Zoom folks can hear it as well. You want to go ahead and repeat that for me?
Oh, sure. I'm starting a new business and I wanted to learn from experts how to present myself.
That's fantastic. Anybody else want to share theirs?
I'm here for the betterment of myself and hopefully the betterment of my family and friends, that sort of thing. I'm in the second part of my career, or second life of my career, and I just think it's important to embrace each other.
Thank you. Perfect. Alrighty. So that is the first thing I've learned, is find your North Star. Basically what you wrote down is your North Star. Funny enough, when I was in one of those companies, I had a formal mentor, and I was so excited to have my notebook. Okay, we're set to have this meeting. And that was his first question. Why are you here? Why is Chloe doing what Chloe does? That took me about 10 minutes to figure that out. And the first thing I told him is, I'm here because I want that promotion. And he's like, but why do you want that promotion? What's behind that promotion? And we just went through so many whys and the reason whys. And I came up that my North Star is my family. I wanted to make sure that my kids have a comfortable life and that I am present, because it's hard being full-time mom and having a full-time job and having a side gig, and also, like making sure your relationship with your spouse or with your significant other is not going sideways. So there's so much to juggle for every single one of us. I do want to give you a little bit of background about me. So I was born and raised in the Philippines, and my mom and dad have 3 girls. I am the youngest of them all. And if you guys don't know, back in the days, they're changing stuff right now, but in the Philippines, it's a patriarchal society. I remember my mom telling me, oh, all the girls, you need to make sure you know how to cook a meal, because the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. I love to cook. I love to eat. But at that time, as a young child, I questioned that. Like, why is my spouse not supposed to cook for me? Why is my boyfriend not allowed to do that? Why am I the one who's responsible for that? And so I'm just giving you guys perspective. Growing up in a patriarchal society like that, you always question you being a woman, and they have expectations, and it's probably the same here, right? We may not be a patriarchal society, but I feel like the expectations for women different than the expectations for men. And I think we need to get out of that. Women are expected to be demure, we're expected to be less bossy or have our own feelings about stuff. And so that's kind of like the first few things I've seen here. And so I wanted to give you a little bit of background, but going back to my presentation, your North Star is super important because there is a reason why you are here to start a business. But at the end of the day is to make sure you're successful and to provide for yourself, provide for your family, and make sure you achieve all of that. The other thing too is knowing your North Star also helps you identify boundaries, right? I told you my North Star is being able to provide for my family and kids and make sure they don't experience poverty as I did as a child, and at the same time be present. I had a job in the past where money was great, but I was living in my suitcase. I was traveling so much. And I remember I was in a hotel room after going to a client's office. My husband sent me a video of my youngest child taking his first step. That was rough, right? And so at that moment, I figured it out, like, holy cow, like I am missing out on my kids, and what I'm doing right now is not supporting my North Star. And so to me, that was my time to reassess where I was and figure out where you need to go. Which brings me to taking calculated risks, speak up and act. I didn't quit my job right away because I'm the breadwinner in my family. Doing so is not going to meet my North Star, which is providing for my family, making sure they're comfortable. But take those calculated risks. It could be you want to go bungee jumping. Take your calculated risks. I will not do it. I don't think the fall will kill me. The anxiety of just getting into the plane will kill me. It's a big no-no for me. It's the same thing with taking new jobs, right? Have you applied for a job that imposter syndrome? Oh, shoots, I may not be good enough for this job. Why am I even applying? Why am I even wasting my time? Go do it. Just do it. Speak up and act. I've learned that if you don't speak up for yourself, personal life or work life, no one else will. Now, granted, we have managers who are great, but at the same time, you cannot put 100% of your future, your career's future and path on somebody else. You need to take charge of your life and you have to speak up. I know that's kind of hard sometimes, like you want to talk about a raise or a promotion. No, just do it. Less is more. And this is specifically from a communication standpoint. Now, it's based on context, right? So a great example I have for you is emails. I had a wonderful mentor. She's retired now. And in our one-on-ones, we started talking about women and men, basically how we communicate via email. And so she asked me, like, do you notice how men respond in emails versus how we female do? And I'm like, I'm not paying attention, but sure, like, let's see it. Like, let's hear it. And she said, men do it, less is more. And I needed to understand what that meant. And she said, if you look at their emails, it's really them just answering the question. In comparison to us, we answer the question and then we provide the background, we provide the future state, we provide everything else, and we basically lose our audience. And at the same time, it's like, it's a whole novel that you're sending out and you're losing basically the main reason why you're responding. And she told me, we have a tendency to preemptively answer those questions that sometimes they don't even need. If they need additional questions, they will ask you for that. But in the meantime, answer the question. And from that moment on, I started watching emails, and it's just brilliant because I would see men just two words. I'm like, okay, wow, okay, great. And then female, it's like a whole novel of how we want to respond to the emails. And it was just a question answerable by yes or no. It's like, yes, but because blah, 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 blah. Like it's interesting. So I want you guys to look at those emails moving forward because they're super interesting to compare how we respond versus how our male colleagues do as well. Okay, next one, listen and watch the room. Remember everyone else's. You may not be aware that you are watching and listening in the room, but you are. We are in an age where we do Zoom all the time. People are watching. And what I say when they're watching is they're looking if you are engaged. They're looking if you're there just to be there. They're looking if you just woke up from your, woke up and not really like brushed your hair or anything like that. Bring your A game in every single meeting you're in. The other thing I want to mention is every single person you meet, me speaking up in front of you right now, I will give you guys ideas of the things you want to copy from me or the things that absolutely not, I'm not going to do what she's doing. Because every person you meet, you will identify, oh, I don't want to be that person. Or I like the way she's doing that. Like, I love how the past speakers we've had here, like Kristen, I love everything she did. And I was taking notes of how the presentation went and moving forward, how I want to present. But again, I'm nervous. Imposter syndrome, so maybe in the future. So, but yes, remember, everyone is watching everybody, and just be sure you present your authentic self, but at the same time, make sure you're there. 100% of you is in that room. This is another thing I've realized is before every meeting you go to, write what you want to get out of it and repeat takeaways before the meeting ends. Have you guys been in meetings where it could have been a total just, have you been, yeah, it could have been an email because it could have been an FYI. It's like, holy cow, I'm back-to-back meetings and I just got off in a meeting and I don't know what that was for. It's because the agenda was not really set properly. So if you have an opportunity to drive that, even if you're not the one who set up the meeting, like organize it. Like, why are we having this meeting? What are we trying to get out of this meeting? And repeat the takeaways. I've been in meetings where all throughout the call, so-and-so will be responsible for this. Chloe, you're responsible for that. And everyone will forget that as soon as you get off of that phone call. So it will be good for you to just remind everyone, hey, just want to make sure we have all of this clear. I'm responsible for X, Y, Z, and so is responsible for 1, 2, 3, 4. Just so that meeting does not become one of those like, I'm not sure why I had that meeting. So the next one is just do it. Ask for it. Worst thing that can happen is a rejection. Starting a business. I can speak to that because I started my business about 5 years ago as well. It's a side gig. It's really to raise funds for my animal rescue friends. I've been rejected a lot. I go to these stores presenting my whole slew of stuff, my different candles and what I want, what I'm trying to do, raising funds and blah, blah, blah. I've been said no to a lot, but that didn't stop me because I move on. But I think what I want you guys to take away from this is just do it because rejection shouldn't stop you. Because what if the answer was yes? You wouldn't know because you didn't even try. So just do it. Again, no one else will speak up for you. You have the drive. There's a reason why you're putting yourself out there. It's because of your North Star. So just do it. Be a dreamer and doer. I know dreamer has been touched on earlier, and I totally agree. I purposely wrote dreamer here versus thinker because I believe dreamers tend to go outside the box. The best leaders I've had are both dreamers and doers. I've had leaders who were like just dreamers. Oh, I want this. There's so many stories of like, oh, if we did this, it will be XYZ. It's going to be fantastic for the company. And then you wait. But what do you want me to do to get to your dream? What are you going to, how are we going to accomplish that? So be a dreamer and a doer. If you see something in your departments right now that is like, ooh, we can make this more efficient. I don't know why we're doing it this way. Speak up, because they probably are not aware of your ideas, and that's really something you need to put forward to. Do not be that woman. I say this because I'm speaking from experience. I just feel that sometimes women tend to tear each other down. And I don't know if that's purposefully doing it or not, but please don't be that woman. I'll give you an example. Past experience, I was speaking to one of my male colleagues. Actually, he was my boss. And we were talking about someone, a VP. She's a female VP in a different department. She is very like stern. She gets the stuff done. She gets, she communicates very like, it is what it is type of thing. And my male colleague, actually my boss, came to me and started talking badly about that VP. Like, oh my gosh, did you see how she did that? She's so bossy, and even threw in the B word and stuff like that. And at that moment, I realized I had a choice. I had a choice to be on that bandwagon and be like, oh my God, yeah, totally agree with you. Like she can be, whatever. Or I could stand up for another woman who's just doing her job. And I did. I totally told him. So the things she said, the things that she did, if it was done by a man, would you say the same thing? Would you call him a jerk? Would you call him the A word? No? Okay, good. Then we're done here. It's funny enough, I was practicing this last night to my kiddos. That's amazing, by the way. Thank you. My 12-year-old was like, okay, Mom, all right, I think this is a great presentation. I'm like, oh, really? Like, give me feedback, like authentic feedback. He gave me some authentic feedback, but it's totally awesome. So his thought on that was, really? A man was bad-mouthing another woman to another woman? Isn't that silly? And I'm like, oh my God, if a 12-year-old can figure that out, why can't other men do it? Out of my voice. So yes, so please don't be that woman. If you have an opportunity, if you see a woman kind of like not being in her A game, please reach out, because maybe she's just afraid to reach out to anybody. Be that person to actually try to make another woman a leader and influence their lives. And at the same time, that influences you, because you might learn from her too. But again, let's try not to tear each other down. This is my last slide. As what everybody said, be selfish, be kind to yourself, be kind to others. Because although you have your North Star, if your fuel is gone and low, you cannot do anything about your North Star. Great example for me, I was in a job where it was such a toxic environment. Same place where my boss was talking negatively about women. But at that time, it was so toxic to a point that I will go to the bathroom and cry. Because it was so bad. And at the same time, I don't want them seeing me cry, because, hey, I want to present that I'm this leader and whatnot, that I can handle it. And I would go home, and all the stories that I have for my husband, and bless his heart, is all negative. And he sat me down and he told me, babe, you got to get out of this. I don't care what we need to do, but this is killing you. And at that moment, I realized that I've been so moody. It's affected my personal life, my relationship with my kids. And at that point, calculated risk, right? Did not quit right away, find a different opportunity out there. And I did, because my fuel was like going down to a point that it was, no point of return. Like, it's just ridiculous. But yeah, I did. So if you ladies have an opportunity to take that massage, do it. I know it sounds like a 30-minute, oh my God, 30 minutes. I can do so much at home. I can clean whatever. I can, take the kids to whatever. Take that 30 minutes. I mean, think about it, 30 minutes a month. Let's start with 30 minutes a month, because you can like increase that, like 30 minutes a week. But let's be realistic here. Please invest in you. That alone time is super duper important. And you need to feel good about you before you can. There was a saying I read somewhere, and I'm totally paraphrasing here, that you cannot give if your cup is empty. And that is so true. You cannot be a leader. You cannot be a mom. You cannot be any of these things if you've got nothing to give. So please love yourself, focus on you, be selfish. And that's my presentation.
Yes. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay. Do we have questions or comments? Here we go. Go ahead, Mary.
My question is, how long did it take you to become aware that you were in a toxic environment that you couldn't tolerate? How long did you continue to stay in it? And then wouldn't that mean that you had to wear that mask for a little while?
It took me a long time to even figure out it was a toxic environment, because it felt like that was the norm. Everyone was talking negatively of everybody. And that moment when I figured out I have a choice here, I am not going to be part of that group. I want to be on the positive side. That's the moment I realized it was that. So to answer your question on that, probably took me 2 years to even realize that was like, oh God, this is not how it should be. I have staff reporting to me, and I would tell them, we as a team control our environment. I don't want drama in my environment. Drama is supposed to be reserved for real life. I seriously tell my people this. You can vent, right? But let's not bring those in here, because they're not helpful.
Hey, my friend, if you enjoyed listening to this podcast, be sure to rate, review, and share your biggest takeaway. And if you're wanting more, you can access hundreds of recent speakers, book summaries, great articles, and more at no additional charge through your membership portal. You can also get involved in a Women Leaders Association mastermind group or a networking group near you. Or if you just need to access your membership portal, simply go to womenleaderspodcast.com to be connected. Because here at Women Leaders Association, we believe we go further, faster, and have more fun when we go together. That's all for today, my friends. Bye for now.